Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are FC.
On Tuesday, the Royals crushed the Diamondbacks 12-2. Last night, the Moose broke loose, driving in all 4 runs of a tense 4-3 KC victory. Tonight, the Royals hope the power continues and Jeremy Guthrie keeps the Snakes underground. KC goes for the sweep in the desert. Next. Royals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Tonight from Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona, it's the final game of this series. It's the Royals going for the sweep over the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hi, everybody. Steve Physiak, Rex Adler with you. And the Royals found out today that Detroit lost to the Yankees, and they are now within 3 games of first place in the American League Central. But the Royals simply have to take care of their own business. And their own business surrounds offense lately, just enough offense to give them victories.
Didn't Al Davis just say, just win? That's all they want, and they're getting it. It's really nice. Not just from one guy either. There's 3 or 4 hitters offensively starting to emerge, and that's exactly what Ned wants, especially in the nick of time as the schedule only gets tougher the next week.
48-8 when scoring 4 or more runs. Look at the batting average in their wins with runners in scoring position. And, of course, Detroit lost. The Royals need to win to move within 2.5 games. But last night's bus driver was the Moose.
Ooh, and you said the Moose got loose. Believe it. Look at how easy that swing looked. If Mike Moustakas goes up there again and just swings that bat just relaxed and easy, we'll see more of this. Runners crossing the dish. The Moose is starting to heat up, and isn't it coming at the nick of time? Look at that hustle. That's a different Moose than we're not used to seeing. But this year, he's coming to play. He may not have a high batting average, but the Moose is getting it done.
Jeremy Guthrie, don't change a thing from your last start where you beat the mighty Oakland A's 1-0. Royals and Snakes coming your way next.
League leading 32nd save. He has 99 now in his career. How sweet would it be for 100 tonight? The Royals lost 4 straight out of the All-Star break, but have won every series since. Joel Goldberg back here in Phoenix, and after those 4 straight losses, the Royals were 8 games out following a loss on July 21st. They're 11-3 since, a chance to be 2.5 games behind Detroit in the division by the end of the night. So what's been going so well for them during this hot 11-3 stretch?
We've gotten those timely hits, and we've continued to pitch well. Our starting pitching's been incredible. Back end of the bullpen's been good, and everyone's been carrying their weight, not trying to do too much. And we're putting together those crooked numbers. And when you got a good starting staff and a good defense, 2 3-run innings, we're going to win you a lot of games.
Vidal Nuno is on the hill. The Baker University product was supposed to face the Royals June 9th as a Yankee. That was postponed. He's now a Diamondback and throws the first pitch next.
Chevy dealers, make your move to Chevrolet today. By Missouri Lottery, try the new Lucky Sevens playbook. And by ATT Ubers, find out what's possible with ATT. Call 1-800-PIG-ATT, mobilizing your world. Welcome back to the Valley of the Sun, where it's smoking hot outside, but comfortable inside Chase Field. Ned Yost Royals, the hottest team in baseball since June 22nd. They were 8.5 games back. Now they are only 3 games back as Detroit lost to the Yankees today 1-0. And the Royals moving on up on Toronto. And currently the Blue Jays trail Baltimore 2-1. That game in the 8th inning to Baltimore. So they could be in the wild card lead after this evening if the Jays lose and the Royals win. First things first, Midwest Ford dealers batting order. Aoki has been instrumental in the Royals' success at the top of this order.
Yep, he's continuing to get on base and seeing a lot of pitches in that leadoff spot, doing a nice job. Fonte, he leads the team in RBI. So look, you can pick any one of them guys out today against the soft tossing left-hander Vidal Nuno to drive the bus, because believe me, this guy's pretty good hitting. He's not overpowering. He doesn't have a whole lot of crispness to his pitches. He's a fastball, slider, curveball, changeup guy, what the hitters call soft tossing lefty. And we'll see what they can do to him.
That said, Rex, he has been very strong with the Diamondbacks. A 2-7 record with the Yankees, then traded to Arizona. As Joel told you earlier, was scheduled to face the Royals June 9th in that Derek Jeter game, but it got rained out. And here is the D-backs defense.
Yep, Snakes are going with a rookie making his Major League debut. Jake Lamb tonight at third base. And believe me, a soft toss and lefty, the right-handed bats of the Royals will be giving him plenty of action. And they say that he's a very good defender.
Nuno, very good command, and he immediately gets across strike one with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yep, he'll go 87 to 92.
That is chopped to Lamb, who fields it. His strong throw just does get Aoki, and that's a nice play in your debut in the major leagues.
Oh, are you kidding me? First ball hit of the game to him? Oh, man. This kid may win a Gold Glove in his future. Now, look at this. That's exactly what you want. If there's any butterflies, they're gone now. He made the first play. Look at his folks up there getting a kick out of that.
John and Dion Lamb, they came down from the Pacific Northwest to watch their son play. He was a star at the University of Washington and the Diamondbacks' 6th-round pick a few years ago.
Now, if he was tight, he would have thrown that ball down the right field line. And you would expect it. First play in the big leagues. But, man, he got on top. His arm, they say, is a really good one.
Now Omar Infante. He was 0 for 4 last night after 5 hits in his previous 2 games. Still batting .264. Leads the club in RBIs with 51. In there. One thing Nuno will do, Rex, because he's not overpowering, when he makes mistakes, they have been hammered. 19 home runs he's allowed in 107 and a third innings coming into tonight's game.
That's because he leaves a lot of balls up in the hitting zone. He's got a 7.11 ERA in the first innings this year, so get him early. He's deceptive. He tries to hide that ball as you see him with his turn. Hides that ball, keeps it behind his body, and there's a loop and curve. If he keeps throwing that pitch, oh man, this is going to be a good night for the Royals. That was a hanger.
Well, they're hitting them all to the first day kid, Jake Lamb.
That's right. Now, it's not a knee buckling curveball by any means, but you could see it pretty well from up here, but hitters see it even better down there.
He's been getting a lot of jokes yelled at him from the Diamondbacks dugout, and he's had a broad smile on his face in his first 2 plays in the major leagues. And now Salvador Perez goes after the first pitch, pops it up, Mark Trumbo over, but it's just beyond his reach.
I told you the kid's going to get a lot of action down there at third base. Trumbo ran out of room. Didn't look too comfortable going over there by that railing. Thank you. Salvio love another chance.
Salvador has been money in interleague baseball, batting .364. Belted his 13th home run of the year in Tuesday's 12-2 win. The Royals were down 1-0 with 2 runners on when Salvi blasted one into left center field seats.
His slider, it's got a little break to it. He's going to throw that occasionally, but his changeup is a pitch that he likes to use a lot. His
Another one whistled foul.
Yeah, he tries to sell it with good arm speed. It's got a little small late sink to it, but mostly the changeup is straight. Fans, just a reminder as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller Time later in today's game. Brought to you by Miller Lite.
Nuno coming out throwing strikes. And Salvi with a 1-hopper to the shortstop Gregorius, and it's a 1-2-3 first inning for Kansas City. We'll see Jeremy Guthrie when we come back.
Royals are going to get him. I can see it.
half ERA, coming off a terrific start where he beat Oakland last Friday 1-0. Outdueled Sonny Gray. It was a pitching classic, and he went 6 innings, gave up no runs, had 6 strikeouts. First scoreless start in almost a year when he knocked off Minnesota last year. But it says cutters, but it's more of a slider. But sometimes it moves like a cut fastball.
Yeah, it's not a lot of break to it. Call it what you want. Hitters don't like it, especially when he's on the corners. And that's his job. Manipulate the corners, all 4 of them. That's right. There's a high strike zone, and there's both strike zones on the side, and there's one down low. And mix them up. Fastball, curveball, slider, changeup.
Kirk Gibson's lineup, the rookie Inciarte will lead things up. Then Gil Peralta is the interesting story. This is a guy who started the year in Double-A, and right now, Rex, he is hitting 3rd in the major leagues. David Peralta, Trumbo, of course, and Montero are the veterans. Jake Lamb, major league debut. Gregorius, Heisnick are both young, and Nuno, acquired recently from the Yankees.
If you're a young player, you're loving the Diamondbacks organization because you get a chance to play. This team was supposed to contend. They were supposed to be in a playoff team when the season started, but all those injuries has given these kids opportunities to play, and you can't beat that.
That ball struck to the left side, and Alex Gordon with a great effort, but Inciarte has been hot lately and drops a base hit to left.
How about that play by Alex? Now, he didn't catch it, but watch his right hand, what he does to keep the baseball in front of him. Look at that. That ball kicks away, and a speedy guy hits it. He'd be looking for 2, but not with Gordon out there. Billy Butler's been outstanding. He's really feeling good on both sides of the ball. First base, he's looking good. He's doing everything right so far. There's only one play he's missed, and that was that ball he misjudged in Oakland that dropped. Little pop-up.
Butler, of course, replacing the best defensive first baseman in the American League, Eric Hosmer, last year's Gold Glove winner, out for about another month because of the injury to his right hand. Hit in the hand by John Lester in Boston. Tried to play through it, but had to be placed in the DL. And here is the veteran Aaron Hill.
Aaron Hill, he's got the most at-bats by far than anybody in the lineup for the Diamondbacks. He's 9 for 39 with a couple of home runs off of Guthrie in his career. 2 seam sinkers, sliders, slow curveballs occasionally. Guthrie will flip up there.
And Jeremy, usually when he's successful, is successful down around the knees, and he gets a lot of double plays. Royals have an excellent infield with Infante. The runner goes, and the ball struck foul. Inciarte with 6 stolen bases in his young major league career. Started the year at AAA Reno, hit .312 there, and he is a big prospect in their organization. Baseball America said he is their fastest base runner and has the best outfield arm. And we've seen some pretty good offense from Inciarte in the first 2 games of this series.
We have. He's a nice looking player.
Guthrie has a full count on Hill at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Early pitch count outs is important for Guthrie because sometimes in the first couple of innings he'll give up a lot of pitches in those first few innings. So early count outs is really important for him. Get in that zone, let him hit it.
The runner is going on the 3-2 count, and it's fouled off by Hill. Jeremy's made a few errors this year on pickoff throws, but he does have a very good move.
Another thing to watch for with Guthrie is his ability to pitch inside. He has to be able to do that. Pitch inside to both righties and lefties. And he has hit 12 batters this year. So he's not afraid to come in there.
That leads the American League and is the most he's had since 2010 when he hit 16 batters that year. But he needs to come inside to open up the outside corner. Ciarte goes. The ball is smoked to third. Moustakas knocks it down. Does not have a play, and there will be runners at first and second with nobody out.
Sometimes that ball will eat you up. And that was an in-betweener. It's one of those where you put your hands right in front of your belt. You hope the ball lands in it. And that time it just hit off the heel. So I agree with the score. That's a very difficult play. And he's going to be rewarded with a base hit.
And here's the kid David Peralta we were talking about. Started the year in Double-A. Now in the big leagues and hitting third. He's been extremely hot, batting .340 the last 6 weeks of the season. And had 2 hits last night. First 3 years, Rex, in pro ball, he was with the St. Louis Cardinals organization as a pitcher. They moved him to the outfield. His offense improved. And now he's in the big leagues hitting third.
You don't see that very much.
Well, he hits this one very well. Lorenzo Cain going back, still going back, and makes the catch. Both runners tagging. Here's the throw to second base, and both runners will advance on the long fly ball struck by Peralta.
Guthrie will exhale now as that out could have been a 3-run homer. So even though it was a productive out, Guthrie's job, keep the ball in the yard if you can. Lefties have done the most damage off of Guthrie this year. 288 with 16 homers. Lorenzo Cain is able to bring it down. 407. You hit a ball that far, you're hoping you get a homer.
Trumbo gets a first pitch strike, and Arizona has not done a very good job advancing base runners throughout this series. They're only 3 for 21 with runners in scoring position, and the Royals have worked out of jams many times in situations like this.
Guthrie will have to early. He's being challenged.
Trumbo will get the lead run home, and Ciarte tags and comes home, and Cain brings the throw to third. It is 1-0 Arizona.
How dare the Diamondbacks get on the board first?
Well, they did in the first game on Tuesday. They were up 1-0, Rex, and then they lost 12-2.
Royals got them right where they want them. Now, just in case some strange thing happens and the Royals can't win tonight, for a 4-2 record wouldn't be too shabby. Now, I hope Ned doesn't hear us that we said that. That wouldn't be a bad road trip. That was their goal, to win series. But 5-1 would be a beautiful thing.
On the flights home, Ned usually listens to every single word you say. He'll replay the television version of the ball game and break down all of your quotes, all of your mistakes.
I wouldn't want him to hear that.
Here's Miguel Montero. Tough out. The guy who's been hot of late. 4 hits and 7 at-bats in this series. Jeremy Guthrie has allowed 13 runs in the first inning in 23 starts. Hit to the right side. Butler has it. Gets it to Jeremy, and that will do it for Arizona in the first. The Snakes strike first on a sacrifice fly by Mark Trumbo.
Billy.
in an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by AT&T.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of blue in the next 7 days. We're going to be seeing at the K.
3 with San Francisco starting tomorrow night, and then 4 with Oakland beginning on Monday. Here at Chase Field, the Royals have won 6 of the last 8 games at Chase, averaging right around 8 runs per game. They scored 4 last night and 1.
Yeah, you know, an interesting note that without the designated hitter, it hasn't been a problem in the National League parks since June 15th. 2012, the National League stadiums, they're 16-7 with 5.2 runs average per game and 19 homers. So they're killing it in National League parks. These guys are wearing it out. And you mentioned all the home runs they've hit off Nuno. I bet we see 3 tonight.
3? Well, that's the most in one game he's ever given up, and he did that against the Baltimore Orioles, a home run hitting team back on June 21st. He allowed 3 big flies, and a lot of them are to right-handed batters. Now, he's been able to get ahead of all 4 Royals that he's faced. And Billy whacks one down the left field line, and that will stay fair and get into the corner, and Billy will have himself a leadoff double. That's much like he started the 9th inning last night with a double, and he would eventually score what proved to be the game-winning run when Moustakas laid out at first base, breaking up a double play.
That curveball is telegraphed. I'm telling you, you can see him really good. And they hit the ball hard on him in that first inning a couple of times. So I'm just saying, this is the kind of pitcher that the Royals like.
Well, we hope so. He did not have much success with the New York Yankees with a 5.42 ERA. Much better with Arizona at 3.47. With very little run support.
Here's one.
There goes Gordon deep to right, and this baby is way gone.
All right, I called 3, Fizz, and you looked at me like I was crazy.
I'm just saying, don't put pressure on the lads. Just get the victories.
I'm telling you. How about that? Alex Gordon.
His first home run since June 21st.
He just unloaded.
33 games, 136 plate appearances between homers, and boy, he jumped on this.
Oh my, talk about a cookie on a platter. Ooh. Man, that ball was loud.
Here's Lorenzo Cain, and he skies one in the air to center field. Ender Enciarte will be there to make the catch for the first out of the 2nd inning. But the Royals really showing their power, flexing their muscles. That is 5 home runs against Diamondback pitching in this series. So Gordon gets number 10 and gives the Royals their first lead. And here is Mike Moustakas, who drove in all 4 runs last night. Rex, the last Royal to do that, driving all 4 runs in a victory, Justin Maxwell, his walk-off last year in the Grand Slam.
Ooh, man.
Mike goes to right field. In comes the right fielder, and he calls off the second baseman Hill, and Peralta there for the catch, and 2 gone.
Yeah, it's just, you know, Moose is just being really relaxed right now. Feeling good, confident.
Vidal Nuno this season with the Yankees, you see lefties he's been able to hold down, but right-handers, my goodness, 16 home runs. And a left-hander got him in this one, and it was Alex Gordon launching one deep to right field. Escobar the batter, and he takes ball 1. Arizona missing 4 of their original members of their starting rotation, 3 on the disabled list, Arroyo, Corbin, and Hudson, and they also traded Brandon McCarthy to the Yankees to get Nuno.
When's the last time Escobar went deep?
Well, I can tell you right now, Alcides Escobar has 2 home runs on the year. And he went deep 269 at bats ago against Elias. The grand slam off
it's been that long.
Elias in Seattle.
All right, I'm dialing 8 for Escobar. He's due.
You're a piece of work today.
He's due.
And our producer Joe Lavero just said, "Today?" question mark.
Look at Guthrie. He's pretending to be a hitter on deck.
There's a strike to Esky.
Oh.
Foul, let it go.
Well, he'll have to dial 8 some other time, but Alex Gordon did in the second inning, launching a deep shot to right field, and the Royals have the 2-1 lead over the Diamondbacks.
Gordo, welcome back.
The first former Royal selected by the Diamondbacks in the '97 expansion draft. Anderson, Benitez, Lopez, or Supan. Text ABC or D to 432-432. Here we go. Jeremy Guthrie throwing to Jake Lamb, who takes strike one. We told you Jake Lamb making his major league debut. He is out of Seattle, Washington, just 23 years old. Those are his AAA and AA numbers this year. And he goes to the left side. Gordon racing in. Out goes Moustakas, and a nice over-the-shoulder catch by Mike. So Lamb pops up his first at-bat in the bigs.
Wow. Moose. He had to travel a long way to the outfield to catch that one. Good focus.
There's your question. What's your guess, Hud?
I'm going D.
Supan. All right. I think I'm going to go with Albie. Just like that name.
All right.
Brian Anderson we know very well.
I thought it was BA at first.
Didi Gregorius hitting .324 his last 10 games. Does not have a hit in this series, and Guthrie will try and keep it that way, and he delivers a strike in the outside corner, a good changeup. Tremendous prospect coming up in the Cincinnati organization. They feel like he'll be their shortstop of the future. They also had the kid Nick Ahmed, who's on the team currently, one of their best defensive shortstops, but doesn't hit as well as Didi.
He's from the Netherlands, correct?
He was born in Amsterdam but raised in Curacao. Speaks 4 languages. There's a line drive base hit. He does have his first hit in this series. So speed on.
That's a good looking swing there.
Speaks Dutch, Spanish, English, and Papiamento.
Who would you think would be his hero growing up?
Well, there are some really fine players from Curacao right now. And I would imagine one of those, like an Andrew Jones.
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay.
Great center fielder.
For the Atlanta Braves, and Ned Yost, our manager, knows him well. There's a strike on the outside corner. Roger Kieschnick. He had a base hit in the 9th inning last night. 8th inning, I beg your pardon, off of Wade Davis, and then Wade got out of the trouble by striking out Gozwish. Infante won't reach this one. It's a base hit to right field. Gregorius goes all the way to third. Dave McKay, first base coach, talking with Roger.
They had just enough on it to get it by Infante.
So Vidal Nuno will be the batter.
Yeah, no chance for Infante. Now, you don't want the veteran to dive for that ball right there necessarily this early in the ball game. They need him to stay healthy. Infante's driving the bus. He's got the most ribbies on the team at 51. You know, so can't expect him to try to dive and knock that one down. He's had some back issues recently.
Nuno showing bunt. First pitch is away, ball 1. Well, he's got a 14 on base percentage. And he gets the bunt down. Salvi holds the runner, throws out Nuno, so the runner Kieschnick advances to second base. But boy, how about Salvi's footwork? I mean, he had his feet set to fire to third and then immediately jump, fire to strike.
It all happened out in front of the plate where there's quicksand out there. Look at that dirt fly up. So Salvi's got to keep his feet. He checked the third base runner and then got the out. A little sloppy up there in front of that plate, looks like. Sinker ballers, if the home team has a sinker baller on the mound that night, the grounds crew is going to pad in front of the plate. They're going to make it softer. Sometimes 2 inches thick, the dirt, so it doesn't take that high bounce off of the front of the plate. So I think the front has been tailored for Nuno.
Well, then it would also be tailored for Guthrie, who gets a lot of ground ball outs. And there is a strike. And Ciarte singled to left field and scored in the sac fly by Mark Trumbo. Arizona had a lot of base runners last night, but left a lot stranded. Royals won 4-3. Rolls that one. Moustakas, long throw, got him, inning over, and Guthrie does a good job in the clutch with runners first and third, 1 out, nobody scores. Grab your seat and get to the ballpark early next Wednesday when we honor Casey's baseball past with a free baseball history poster presented by Pitcraft Printing and Sprint. Be one of the first 10,000 fans through the gates and receive a limited edition poster featuring Kansas City A's yearbook covers. Plenty of tickets are still available, so visit Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS now. Jeremy Guthrie gets another at bat. He is 0 for 2 this year and 5 for 53 in his career, and 2 of those 5 hits are doubles.
He's looking a little hitterish there, 2-0. Or 1-1, my bad. He looked like he wanted to swing.
Not a bad swing there. The other inning, you accused him in the on-deck circle of pretending to be a hitter.
Well, what I meant really by that was he was in the on-deck circle measuring up Nuno, like the hitters do.
Made contact.
Look at that hustle.
Look at that. Exactly. And he is thrown out by Aaron Hill. But Jeremy, with a great sense of humor, I'm sure he would appreciate your comment. Our Toyota League leaders, best road record. The Royals continue to win. They're now 32-26 on the road this year. Only the Tigers, Orioles, Mariners, and A's have better records in the American League. In Kansas City, 500 at home, and they're coming home to host the Giants, then the A's, 2 very good teams. There's a base hit up the middle by Aoki, his second hit of this series. And Nori said he's just getting more comfortable in the American League in the second half of the season, Rex.
Look at how he finessed this ball. He stayed right with it. Right back up the middle. Nice touch. Yeah, you know, some guys make adjustments sooner. I mean, this is late in the season, but hey, better late than never.
Well, he spent the last 2 years with Milwaukee. He comes over to Kansas City. He has a whole new group of teammates, doesn't speak the language, so he's learning the teammates, and he spends a lot of time in the video room studying opposing pitchers that he's never faced before. A guy like Nuno. Omar Infante lined out his last time up, squaring up a curveball but lining it directly at the third baseman Jack Lamb. Well, against the Diamondbacks, he's been pretty strong. Now hitting .349 with that base hit to center. A high strike to Omar.
Floated that changeup in there. And if it's out over the middle of the plate, Infante, who hasn't homered since June 27th, might get him one. Change up again.
Better location, and if Omar swings at that one, he might ground into an inning-ending double play.
He's waiting for a cookie. He's waiting for his pitch. I'm sure Dale Swain, hitting coach of the Royals, told him before the game, be patient. He's going to give you something good to hit each at bat.
And there is a good pitch to hit, and he strikes it to right field. Aoki stops at second base. 2 on, 1 out for KC, and now a right-handed batter with power. Salvador Perez will come up.
Catcher, Salvador Perez.
Just got to wait it out, and when you get your pitch, you do your best to try to square it up. Can't always guarantee results where it's going to end up when it leaves the bat, but every hitter wants to square it up. That's his goal.
But this certainly is a pitcher where you really want to be more determined to see the ball up, much like Dale Swain was telling you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Salvi got a lot of it, and he yanked it well foul. There have been a lot of well-struck balls by Royals already. One stayed in the yard, and that was the double by Butler down the left field line. That was followed by one that left the yard by Alex Gordon.
Salvi 230 now with runners in scoring position.
Runners were going, throw to third, and no chance to get Aoki, who had a great break from second base.
How about young Lamb over there making a nice play, saving that ball from going into the outfield. Double steal. Gotta love it. Ned putting some pressure on the defense.
Rex, I haven't seen anything that resembles a slide step. He's been lifting his leg every single time from the stretch with the runner on base. And now Salvador shoots one down the left field line. Aoki scores, Infante scores, and Salvador comes through to give KCA a 4-1 lead.
There you go. Now look, you don't have to hit him over the fence to score runs. But when you have a speedy offense like Ned Yost has, you do exactly what he did. He double stole the runners. They ripped off a couple of bases, got into scoring position, and then you get one of your beasts up there, the third place hitter, Salvador Perez, knocking in his 45th and 46th runs. Lamb's young and he's quick, but he couldn't get that one.
Good changeup by Nuno and gets Billy Butler out front. Salvi with a smile on his face, visiting with Mark Trumbo, the Diamondbacks first baseman. It's all good so far for the Royals. They are winning, and Detroit and Toronto have both lost. So the Royals can move into one of the two wild card spots, leading Toronto with a victory today. Toronto lost their game 2-1 to Baltimore. Fouled off. Billy took a curveball and ripped it down the left field line. His first time up, and scored on Gordon's home run.
Billy's trying to pull him, and that's okay. We're going to try to come in there now.
And he hits it high in the air, deep left center field. Getting over there is Kieschnick to pull it down, and Salvador, who was at second base, has to race back to first.
We talked about it in the open of our show tonight, what the Royals' record is when they score 4 or more runs. And now we'll show it to you again, since they've already hit the magic number. Now it's a lot of game to be played.
Guthrie has to keep them quiet, and the Royals hope to get some more. And here's the guy who got Nuno his first time up, launching a shot deep down the right field line, well back. And he smacks this one down the left field line, and racing over is Kieschnick. Will he get there? No. Beyond his reach, strike one. Well, the Royals are 34-11. That was the other number we showed you in the open when they hit a home run, and Alex went deep. First time in 6 weeks.
Alex is seeing Salvi and Moose take the lead with home runs. Perez has 13, Moose has 14. He says, you know what? I got to get in that race. And there's always some friendly ribbing inside the clubhouse about things like that, and that's all good. Internal competition really stokes the fire.
One ball, 2 strikes. Guthrie grounded out to start the inning, but Aoki singled, Infante singled, a double steal, and a Perez single drove in 2 to make it 4-1. Alex to center field, and Ciarte on his horse and gets there and makes the catch for the final out. But Salvador Perez drives in 2. He now has 46 runs driven in this year, and the Royals are up 4-1 on the Snakes.
Clutch.
Here's our Mazda game break. A 1-0 contest it ends up being. And that is the only run. Stephen Drew came over from the Red Sox, and he leads the Yankees to victory. And as we look at the wild card standings, Royals right now are tied. And we'll check those out here after the first pitch. And you look at that. Second spot with New York and Toronto, who's lost, so they could take the lead tonight. Now, guys, after this next pitch, you know, every park they have that signature item, and the D-backs said, hey, you want us to deliver our signature item? Now, here you go.
Oh,
what is that thing?
This is, we'll put it down here for you, the D-bat dog.
It's a corn dog.
It is an 18-inch corn dog that is stuffed with cheddar cheese, jalapenos, bacon, with a side of fries that takes 2 days to make.
2 days?
2 days to make. Hud, can you polish that thing off?
Whoa!
Oh.
Sorry, there goes half of the fries. The mustard.
My
that dog took 2 days to make.
There you go. Now you can
have a bite.
Oh, man, are you kidding me? I'm going to break it in half.
Aaron Hill takes a called strike 3, and Hud takes a big bite out of the biggest dog in Arizona. No, thank you, not anymore.
Man, you know what? I just messed up my whole desk.
Yeah, but
well, you kept on leaning, and you got mustard all over the place. You're a mess.
That's some mustard, Hud.
Goldie.
Can't take you anywhere.
What is it? What's that old line?
Hey, it's got bacon.
Give it to Mikey. He'll eat anything.
It's got bacon in it.
Fizz, you want some?
You know what? It looked good at the beginning. I think I'll just broadcast the game.
I mean, you got the whole other half.
Yeah, this is true. And we've got that flight back home to Kansas City. I understand the corn was grown in the state of Kansas, so it's got to be quality.
You're just making that up now.
I'll tell you, I've never had a corn dog with bacon inside of it. That's pretty good.
Got mustard on your windscreen on the microphone.
Sorry.
And meantime, Omar Infante throws out David Peralta. Every time you come into the booth, Joel, you cause problems. We love you, man.
I got the best.
Oh, goodness. Here is Mark Trumbo. Trumbo had the sacrifice fly that knocked in Arizona's only run. And he rolls this one to third, perfectly placed. No chance for Moose. That's an infield hit for Trumbo.
Yeah, that's a pocket ball. Nothing Moose can do about that. And you know, you don't even want to practice and go through that because Infante, he wasn't backing up down that line. So if he did throw it away, it would have not been good. So just put that in your pocket and try to roll two here.
The way you handled that corn dog was much like this replay we're watching, where I almost felt like it was in slow motion, where we go, Hud, you're going to drop the dog. And it just fell out safely, not in foul territory.
I've never seen a corn dog that big before, so it was a little heavy.
Ground ball foul. Trumbo at first base with 2 out. Miguel Montero, the batter. He's been hot in this series with 4 hits, including a pair of doubles. Always hit well against Kansas City, batting .356 against the Royals. Diamondbacks had a good record of 13-8 against KC in interleague play, but in this series they have been dominated. Beaten 12-2 and 4-3. Good starts by Duffy and Ventura. And now Guthrie trying to join them. Montero, a veteran out of Venezuela, 31 years of age. He and Salvador Perez have been visiting throughout this series around the batting cage. And Montero very impressed with the Royals' young catcher. 7 years younger than Miguel. Way inside, a 3-2 count. Now Trumbo will be moving with 2 out. Three infielders in the right side, 1 on the left. Tried again at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Guthrie has only faced the Diamondbacks once in his career, and it was at Chase Field 2 years ago as a member of the Colorado Rockies. Didn't go very well. 7 runs allowed in 3 1/3. This one going much better. Good battle between Guthrie and Montero.
Yeah, Montero, he's taking some gangster hacks. I mean, he looks like he's trying to hit a 2-run homer off Guthrie. And maybe he pulls out that changeup.
The 8th pitch in this at bat, ready to be thrown.
Yeah, Guthrie's changeup, when he starts it on the inside part of the plate, it moves back over or it goes away like Salvi's setting up.
And there's a line drive to center field. Trumbo will race to third, and Kane brings it to the cutoff man. 2 on with 2 out. Good at bat by Montero.
Montero hit a real nice breaking ball first pitch from Ventura last night to left center field gap off the wall. And so he's pretty good at going the other way. He had an idea Guthrie wasn't going to give him anything middle in. So he said, all right, I'm going to set up away and go that way. Montero's a good hitter.
Now Jake Lamb, those are his minor league numbers, hit .327 at AA and AAA combined. And he is a big reason they traded Matt Davidson to the White Sox. He swings and misses at the 88-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch thrown by Guthrie.
Guthrie's been really good, especially when runners threaten to score on him. Tonight they're 0 for 3. Against the Oakland A's in his last outing, Guthrie held the Oakland A's to 0 for 5. This kid here, his scouting report that I have on Jake Lamb. Very athletic, strong arm, line drive hitter. Swing could get a little long. We've already seen that here in this at bat. He has a long swing. He'll work on that. And they're hoping that he hits for high average and for power as this kid evolves. Remember Springer, the kid, the right fielder for the Houston Astros.
Flips it towards left field, and that's a base hit. In comes Trumbo to make it 4-2, and mom and dad, John and Dion, going crazy in the stands as their son has his first major league hit with an RBI attached.
He tried to doink one in there his first time up. This time he's able to do it. Congratulations for mom and dad, John and Dion. And of course to Jake Lamb.
That was a good at bat because that wasn't a bad pitch thrown by Guthrie. So that's your first major league hit. You give it to Cliff Pennington, and it will be saved for his memory book, trophy case. Matt Davidson was their up-and-coming third baseman. He was traded to the Chicago White Sox because of the emergence of Lamb down in the minor leagues. Gregorius pops it up. Moustakas takes it. And Guthrie gives up 1 in the third, but the Royals hold their 4-2 lead going to the 4th inning at Chase Field.
And a special welcome to all
styling, and he's got to get to Kansas City to visit Irish Fest. Well, starting at just $20, you'll receive a ticket to watch the Royals battle the Twins at the K on August 27th, and also get a free single-day admission to the Kansas City Irish Fest going on that same weekend. Enjoy a night out at the ballpark and gear up for a fun-filled Irish Fest. For tickets and more information, visit Royals.com/Irish. Fidel Nuno will face Lorenzo Cain here in the top of the fourth. Royals lead it 4-2. They've scored 2 runs in the second on a Gordon home run and 2 in the third on Salvador single that drove in 2.
That Royal fan we just showed looked like Kevin Apier.
Really?
I thought Abe was in the house.
Wore his hat like Fernando Rodney. See, he's got it going on.
Doesn't that look like Kevin Apier?
A little bit. He didn't want the bill over the front of his eyes. He wants everybody to see his good looks.
He's right where he wants to be.
Cain shoots it down the left field line. That should be 2. Lorenzo hard around first, and Cruz is into second base with a leadoff double. Well, your Kansas City Honda dealers bring you the MTP of the game, the most trusted player, brought to you by the most trusted brand, Honda.
Hey, what? Beginning of the season, he wasn't very trustworthy with that bat as he struggled. But the mark of a good big leaguer is not how you start the season, it's how you finish. And Moose is coming on strong. Right when they need a bat to step up with his buddy Hosmer out, he's been picking up the slack.
And he smacks that one to the first baseman. This will get Cain third, so it's a productive out. And Moose continues to hit the ball sharply. Love to see that. Made it out, come in, everybody's there to greet him.
That's right. You make a productive out like that, you get some love for that.
Rex, you were talking about that before the ball game on the roundtable on the Royals radio network, how you saw them out the other day, yesterday, and they were all in just a joy-filled mood wrestling around, and it seemed like Raul Ibanez was kind of the policeman.
Yeah, it's nice to see. And, you know, having bonded with teammates over the years, you get to see the personality of the ball club. And while Ned was holding court, talking to the media, out there stretching, those guys acting like 12 and 13-year-old kids, man. They were jumping on Bruce Chin. They were pounding on him. You know, they got him in a headlock. I think, you know, they were just having some fun being boys, basically. And then after it went on for about 5 minutes or so, I saw Ibanez step in like a dad would, and he goes, all right, boys, that's enough. That's enough. Clean it up. Somebody might get hurt here. And you know, that just showed the leadership that goes on by just watching him during batting practice. But, you know, he's smart. Sometimes when you have horseplay like that, someone will tweak an arm or something will happen. But in Ibanez, he knew that. He could see it coming. So he didn't want that on his watch. Somebody getting hurt.
He's been a tremendous addition on the field and in the clubhouse. Breaking ball taken by Escobar. And the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes. But it's been said many times, to play the game of baseball, it is a man's game, but you have to have a boy's enthusiasm, joy.
You better believe it, but they're loose. The whole thing by them messing around out there just tells you they're loose, they're having fun. Now, right now, it's serious.
Well, he continues to throw hook after hook to Alcides Escobar, and you predicted that Esky would go deep
sometime tonight.
And Nuno throwing a lot of pitches early and a lot of them over the plate, so Delgado starting to warm in the Arizona bullpen. One of their top young arms, picked up from the Atlanta organization. There is a base hit to center field. That will get Cain home, and the Royals push their lead back to 3.
He'll take that. 24th RBI.
Just keep that pressure on.
That's right. Moose got him over. Give that ribby to Moose. That's what you do. Lead off doubles. You do the right thing offensively. The next hitter sacrifices everyone, pulls the ball over, gets him over, and then that nice little easy run.
We had Tony La Russa on the other night, who's the chief operating officer for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and when he was the great manager for St. Louis and earlier with the Oakland A's, I remember a quote that he had about offenses doing what Kansas City's doing and racing over. They won't reach this one. But Tony said, I asked him one time, would you like to have a team that blows an opponent out by scoring 8 runs in 1 inning? And he said, no, I want a ball club that'll score 1 run every single inning. That this is going to be what it's like every time you face the Oakland A's, the St. Louis Cardinals, or in this case, the Kansas City Royals. The Royals have scored 2 in the second, 2 in the third, and 1 in the fourth. They just keep coming at you.
Oh,
little respect there, huh?
Hey, old butcher boy.
I was looking at the breaking ball. A little respect.
No, I was watching Guthrie. He squared around a bunt, pulled it back. Looked like he wanted to take a slash at it. Yeah.
And he has Lamb in at third. Now he will bunt, but he bunts foul. And it is a 1-2 count.
Yeah, Guthrie's having a hard time getting his arms extended. It's 2 attempts on the sack. He's shaking his head. He knows better. He's having some alligator arms there. You got to really get those arms extended. Get him out there. Keep the barrel up.
And he waves at the breaking ball thrown by Nuno. So we're now 2 outs in the 4th inning.
Right fielder, Nori Aoki.
First strikeout for Nuno. And he'll face Nori Aoki, and you just wonder if the Royals will be aggressive here with Escobar, who has 23 stolen bases. They were aggressive in the 3rd inning and had a double steal. Aoki fouls off the first pitch, strike 1. Fans, vote for the Royals Player of the Month at rallyhouse.com/Royals, and you will be entered to win a majestic prize pack from Rally House. Aoki certainly had a little jump start the other day when he hit his first big league grand slam in the month of August. Part of the Royals' 12-2 blowout of Arizona.
He told me he barely felt the bases when he ran around him. Special feeling for him.
I just love the smile on his face, the joy as he was heading towards the dugout, knowing what he'd see when he came into the dugout. And we're seeing Rex Moore, the leadoff guy that Dayton Moore believed he was getting when he traded Will Smith to get Nori Aoki. Nori had very good numbers for the Brewers the last 2 years, and Ron Renicky is a friend, and he really raved about Aoki. There goes Eski, and they've got him picked off. The throw to second is in time. Royals score 1 more, and they have a 5-2 lead over the Diamondbacks. in Overland Park. And by your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit us at yourmidwestforddealers.com. We're at Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. And it's time to go to Joel Goldberg.
Well, it's been a nice reunion for Rusty Kuntz and a couple of his former teammates. The Royals first base coach, world champion, along with Alan Trammell and Kirk Gibson. And, you know, he said as far as Trammell goes, he was a magician. And he'd get out there after a Lou Whitaker double and he'd double him in. Or it'd be a homer and then a double. Those guys were great. But then as far as Kirk Gibson goes, and this will not surprise HUD, because HUD, you knew Kirk Gibson when he was in college and you were looking at Michigan State. He said one day they lined up for pregame sprints along the first baseline in 1984. It was maybe Rusty's first start of the year. And he says to Gibby, he says, how about we sprint and we race from first base here down the line over to second base. Billy going to field that one with ease for the first out of the inning. And Gibby says, okay, would you like me to race you forward or would you like me to sprint you backpedaling? Well, he said, fine, go ahead and backpedal. Says, we race down from first to second. I'm going forward and he's backpedaling. He says, and Gibby ends up beating me. So then we did it both going forwards. And he said, 30 years later, I still have the vivid picture in my head. We got to about the 4-hole, right about where, you know, Infante will be playing a little bit more over now, in between first and second base. He turned down to another gear, and I just watched him go and quit. He got there so fast. One of the great athletes of his time, and he said to have that guy HUD in the clubhouse and motivate everyone and keep them accountable, you did not mess with Kirk Gibson.
Alfredo Marte, pinch hitting, pops up.
You better believe he didn't mess with it. He policed the clubhouse, and he had a lot of old school in him, Kirk Gibson, and he was not afraid to speak his mind. If there's something bothering him, he's going to believe everybody else is going to hear about it.
Yeah, Rusty said it's important to have coaches who will reprimand players when they don't hustle. But he said, Sparky Anderson didn't have to do that because Gibson would meet you at the top step of the dugout if you didn't hustle to first base.
They say he's much more mild as a manager, but of course Kirk Gibson was involved in the famous Rusty Kuntz play back in the World Series, and maybe it was some of that speed that helped make Rusty famous, because there's Rusty in the '84 World Series. Now, he doesn't look too happy about it at that point. The little shallow sac fly to second base, but they're the wheels of Kirk Gibson coming home. Maybe he could have backpedaled on that one too, HUD.
Yeah, that was Tony Gwynn and right, and Alan Wiggins caught the pop-up, but he scored.
Guthrie bounces back, fellas, with a solid fourth inning. He gets the Diamondbacks 1-2-3, and Kirk Gibson, there he is, sliding into home on a Rusty Kuntz sac fly in the '84 World Series.
Yeah.
Be sure to visit one of the Cold Stone Creameries.
Best record in the major league since July 22nd. They have won 5 straight series, an 11-4 record in that time. Team batting average 261, 11 home runs hit, and the team ERA 2.8.
And with runners in scoring position, 262. So they're consistently getting some big hits during that time.
Well, Nori Aoki will lead things off for Kansas City in the 5th inning. And that Phantom Cam really shows us some great stuff, Rex. And a pitch was thrown to Nori, and the fans will love to watch this.
Yeah, now, I didn't know if it was Roy Hobbs that was up there or if that's Aoki. Look at how he hit that, and the cover came off the ball. How about that?
Look at that spin. Just took a little bit of the hide off of it.
Yeah, well, you know how that happened. These guys have cup bats. You know, they got the end of their bats are hollowed out to help balance the head of that bat, and they're pretty sharp, those edges. So he hit it right off the end and cut the ball.
Well, the Royals already into the Diamondbacks bullpen as Randall Delgado comes out, a 6'3" right-hander from Panama.
90-93 with his fastball.
He's our Chevy call to the bullpen, and he throws a bit low, and it's a 1-1 count.
He's got a sharp curve, and that last pitch was his changeup.
He at one time was the number 3 prospect of the Atlanta Braves, but traded from Atlanta to Arizona to get one of the Uptons. Fouled off 1-2. He's been a starting pitcher his last 5 years, but in the bullpen here. He was in the pro ranks, starting pitcher last year, 5 wins and 19 starts.
He's a Panamanian from Los Santos.
Proud of what Bruce Chen has done. Bruce able to tie the great closer for the New York Yankees for most wins in Panama history. He and Mariano Rivera with the most.
Now you wonder if Bruce will get any more starts. I mean, he's now the long man out of the bullpen. But I guess if you're tied with Mariano Rivera, that's okay.
Well, he can get some wins in long relief.
Yeah, you're right.
Right now, it's just about winning. 25 guys coming together and playing as one. And there is a great pitch by Delgado. Really fooled Aoki. He strikes out for only the 37th time this year.
Second baseman,
Royals fans, we know you work hard, so come to the K on Labor Day, Monday, September 1st, and receive a lower level field plaza ticket for just $10 and a Hy-Vee infield ticket for just $5. Nothing beats spending your holiday at the K with the boys in blue, so get your discounted tickets now at Royals.com. 1-800-6-ROYALS at the K box office or your local Hy-Vee.
See Montoyo, the catcher, telling Delgado, slow down a little bit. Stay back.
Infante singled, part of a double steal his last time up. Perez then singled in 2. Royals added a run in the 4th, and it's a 5-2 score, as Arizona has scored single runs off Guthrie in the 1st and 3rd. Good little breaking ball on the outside corner. Rex, we've got good news on Brandon Finnegan, the Royals' first-round pick out of TCU. He had his Northwest Arkansas Double-A debut, and it went well. Shot out baseball in 2 innings of relief, no walks, 2 strikeouts, 25 pitches thrown, and 20 of them were strikes.
There you go.
He was incredible at Single-A Wilmington, allowing just 1 run in 15. So they said he's ready for the promotion. And he already pitched a full year, you know, at TCU, helping that team into the Big 12 playoffs, and then obviously into the College World Series.
It's good to hear. Probably see him in September. He keeps going good. Infante. Just 4 RBIs shy of tying his career high for RBIs at 55. He set that in 04.
Hits that one high in the air. Roger Kieschnick under it. He'll make the catch. And 2 outs. We told you those 2 final scores. New York beat Detroit earlier this afternoon. Shane Green with 8 shutout innings. Stephen Drew knocked in the only run. And the Tigers lead in the American League Central cut to 3 games. And if the Royals win this one, it will be 2.5. Also, Baltimore knocked off Toronto, and Toronto was ahead of the Royals in the wild card. Baltimore got them 2-1. Miguel Gonzalez and A.J. Happ in a terrific pitching duel in that game up in Toronto. Salvi 1 for 2 with a couple of RBIs, now 46 on the year. Royals doing all this offensively without one of their leaders, Eric Hosmer. Out of play.
Did you see Joe Goldberg's pregame show, Hy-Vee Royals Live show with Salvi on today?
Yep.
In his interview he gave in Spanish to Eric Kratz.
Eric was terrific.
That was must-watch TV.
And Joel is friends with everybody, and he's the one who sets it up.
Well, Salvi, he did it in Spanish, and he made Kratz interpret for him.
And Kratz said later that I have Winter League Baseball Spanish. It's just enough to get by.
Yeah, broken. It's broken Spanish.
Well, let's listen again. Kratz and Perez.
Dile que Jeremy Gertrude estaba tirando la pelota muy bajito y él se sentía muy cómodo. Usamos las 2 partes de home, mucho curva, mucho speed y él pichó bien.
He was able to keep the ball down the whole start, and he was able to use his curve ball and his changeup and his other pitches to throw strikes.
He belts that one to left field, but Kieschnick right there as Salvi got it off the end of the bat. Struck it well, but a 1-2-3 5th inning for Randall Delgado. Barry Bonds, August 7th, 2007. Home run number 756. surging past the great Henry Aaron for most home runs all time, and those Giants will be coming to the K tomorrow night. They are 62-53, second in the National League West behind the Dodgers. Then the A's come to town, 69-44, the best record in the major leagues. But KC took 2 of 3 last weekend at Oakland. Meantime, the Giants lost today to Milwaukee 3-1. Willie Peralta beat them, becoming the first 14-game winner in the major leagues. And tomorrow night it will be Madison Bumgarner against Jason Vargas. How about that matchup? All 3 games are going to be beautifully pitched with Bumgarner and Vargas, Shields and Hudson, Duffy and Lincecum, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Oh, man. Get your tickets now because it's going to be a doozer, Fizz. It's going to be a nice weekend series, followed by Oakland A's coming in. Every game now meaningful. It's really exciting.
Guys playing very good ball, winning 11 of their last 14. Averaging 4.5 runs per game during that span. And that ball hit to center field. Lorenzo Cain will take care of Aaron Hill for out number 1 in the 5th. That's 5 in a row, set down by Guthrie. Pitching has been the main theme in winning 11 of their last 14. They had a 2.75 ERA during that stretch. And if they win this game, they would tie a season high 7 games over 500. Last time they were 7 over was back in June when they had that tremendous 10-game win streak and went 39-32 and had the lead over the Tigers. And then they would stumble a bit, get back on beam, and this roller coaster ride that is a Major League Baseball season would continue. Way inside, Peralta has to back out of the way. Hey, he looks like he's going to be a tough out.
And I talked about it earlier. It's about opportunity. You can rake all you want in AAA, but until you get that call up here and you get up here and you start producing, that's a whole different ball game. Now he's in a prominent position in their order, batting 3rd.
Infante will take care of Peralta, and there's 2 out in the 5th. Royals took the early lead after a sac fly gave Arizona a 1-0 advantage. The Royals came back and scored a 2-run home run in the 2nd, and they have not trailed since. Threw 23 pitches in the 3rd, but only needed 6 to get out of the 4th, and 7 so far to get the first 2 outs of the 5th. Here's Trumbo. Trumbo missed 3 months of the season with an injury to his right foot, a stress fracture. Back and healthy, and the last week he's really been swinging a hot bat. Good slider on the outside corner. But I would imagine a few teams would try and pitch around the likes of Trumbo and Montero.
Jammed it.
And Escobar will take care of it, and Guthrie really looking tough in the last 2 innings. We head to the 6th. The Royals lead it 5-2. The big bats in the second inning. Billy Butler with a double. Alex Gordon with a big fly. And the Royals were in front 2-1. They will go back-to-back in this sixth inning, and the sixth is our Sonic Slam inning. Our contestant is Carol Kratzberg from Riverside, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Carol will win $2,800. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Carol will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. Billy's 6 hits in this series, including his first 4-hit game on Tuesday. Just a bit low, and it is a 1-1 count to Butler. 6 hits in 11 at bats, hitting over 400 on this road trip.
Delgado, he's got a 3/4 arm slot, Fizz, and what makes him pretty good is that he repeats his delivery and throws all 3 pitches from that arm slot.
Trumbo takes care of Butler, and 1 out. So I would imagine he has a lot more success against right-handers than lefties.
I would think. He's young. They're developing arms now. They're developing talents. The D-backs are. Seeing their young man Jake Lamb making his major league debut at third base. Gregorius, the shortstop, he's a young rookie.
Yeah, they designated Andy Marte for assignment when they called up Jake Lamb today. There is strike 1 to Gordo. Alex homered in the second and flied out to deep center field in the third. How has he done against right-handers and lefties? Lefties, he's really done a nice job, and he's facing one here. You'd figure he'd be tougher on the right-handers because of that 3/4 delivery.
Ooh.
Well, that might be a big reason why a good changeup like that.
Better believe it. That fell off the table. Moved away from Gordon. Randall Delgado, 6'3", 200. Kind of getting out there, about 3/4 arm slot, like I said. Little body English.
Alex fights it off.
Firm fastball. You know, he's looking like he could be a 7th or 8th inning guy. With those 2 pitches, that mid-90s fastball and that changeup, that's all you need.
He could, but he still wants to be a starter. He was part of the rotation for 19 starts last year, and you think that he might get a look this year. And that ball struck foul, but right now the rotation is Trevor Cahill, Josh Colmenter, Wade Miley, Vidal Nuno, and Chase Anderson. I told you they suffered 3 injuries to starters who are currently on the disabled list, and one they traded, Brandon McCarthy, to the Yankees to get Nuno, who is tonight's starter, and gave up all 5 runs. Right there on the black outside corner at 95. That was some great pitching to Gordon.
Ooh, had his paintbrush out.
Kane has flied out and doubled and scored an Escobar single. Right there in the outside corner. Royals with 2 in the second, 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and Delgado came on in the 5th and shut them down. He has retired all 5 that he's faced. Well, there's a curveball that missed. Didn't get on top of that one. It was interesting last night, Rex, watching Yordano Ventura. He had no command of his breaking ball or his changeup, but still battled for 6 innings and held the Diamondbacks to 2 runs.
Well, when you have those power pitches that he has, you know, you can keep the hitters off at times. What did he strike out, 8? He had his fastball working.
Yes, he did strike out 8.
Yeah,
you go back and look at my scoreboard.
Yeah, little curveball,
sure.
little changeup. You know that he's got 3 really nice weapons. And you know, when you have that type of power, you can get away with mistakes a little bit easier out over the plate.
So many times you hear the term grind from players, and now we're hearing it from a guy like Yordano Ventura, who said, yeah, I really had to grind my way through that. He knew he didn't have his best command. He knew he had no command of his breaking ball or his changeup, so he had to fight his way through 6. Teammates appreciated that.
He's maturing. He's growing up as a big leaguer. He's starting to understand what it's about. And when you have a pitching coach like Dave Island, who's an excellent teacher and can help mentor him. You got Salvi, you got Shields, Guthrie, you got all these other guys that are veterans that are helping Ventura. How can you not succeed with those 3 pitches he's got?
3-2 to Kane. And he swings and misses, and Delgado has looked exceptional in his first 2 innings of work for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler, Joe Goldberg, and Phoenix, Arizona at Chase Field, where it's been all Royals. They've won the first 2, trying to sweep. The Diamondbacks in the desert head home for a 7-game homestand against San Francisco and Oakland. First pitch swinging. Jeremy Guthrie likes that. Nice play by Infante to throw out Miguel Montero, and there's 1 down to open the bottom of the 6th.
Third baseman,
Jake Lamb, we had a chance to witness his first career hit, a single with an RBI in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, that's a winner. To get your first hit with a stake attached, that'll get your fan base up, especially the parents and family.
John and Dion, his mom and dad here from Seattle, Washington. Jake, a star at the University of Washington. Good left-handed lefter. And they've really liked his progress in the minor leagues. And there's John and Dion. They were Mariner fans and have now become Diamondback fans. And Jeremy Guthrie strikes him out, so he has his first hit. He also has his first strikeout in the major leagues, and Guthrie beginning to find his groove. He's retired 9 straight.
Yeah, and he'll likely remember that strikeout.
Our Sprint family question of the day, we asked earlier in the game, who is the first former Royal selected by the Diamondbacks in the 1997 expansion draft? Yamil Benitez is the answer. You have no idea, but 47% went with you because you just sway the crowd. You are like the Pied Piper of Kansas City.
He was an outfielder, Fizz, but sometimes when they throw a name in there with all them big names and you don't recognize the name, that's usually the answer.
I had no idea what the answer was. I went with Albie because I like the name.
Well, that's right. I mean, see, it's a throw. They try to trick us up here.
Shot foul by Gregorius, who is 1 for 2. Guthrie has allowed 2 runs on 7 hits. The Royals, meantime, have 5 runs on 7 hits. Ground ball past Guthrie to Infante. Quick toss. And Guthrie, he's a pro. He knows what to do with the lead, and he's owning it right now. As soon as he got up, he took over.
Arizona, but a lot of Royals fans. And hey, Royals fans, Jeter and the Yankees will be at Kauffman Stadium August 25th. This will be Derek Jeter's last game ever in Kansas City, and Tickets for Less is your trusted source for the perfect seat. Tickets are scarce, but Tickets for Less has those hard-to-get, lower-level seats. The timing to buy is now before they are gone. Call Tickets for Less or visit ticketsforless.com. And guys, I was talking to Christian Colon, still newer with the big league club. I said, Christian, whether you guys win or not tonight, the crowds this weekend are going to be unbelievable. And I talked to some folks with the Royals. They're looking at around 30,000 for both Friday and Saturday, close to it on Sunday. There's still tickets available. But I was telling Christian how electric it's going to be tomorrow night. And he turned to me, Hud, you're going to love this one. And we're talking about right now a role player. He pointed to his arm. Goosebumps everywhere. These guys have been waiting a long time coming up through the organization to be playing in meaningful games, and the fans have been waiting even longer. It's going to be a lot of fun this weekend, but I'm telling you, Hud, goosebumps up and down the arm, and this is a guy that's not playing every day.
Yeah, that Christian Colon, he gets it already. That 5 years of seasoning down in the minors, you know, he's hungry. He's hungry to produce, and he's under control, and he's showing it. And he'll add to hopefully a couple of wins for the team with his defense and his hitting.
Rex, I remember you and I went to the All-Star game a few years back in Kansas City, and the place was electric. It was fantastic atmosphere there, and I turned to you and I said, Rex, this is what it was like back in the 70s and 80s when the Royals were in the playoffs every single year. This ballpark was packed. The Heartland was addicted to Royals baseball. And they are passionate fans, just waiting so long to see the team find success. They had 86 wins last year. And even though they haven't hit the way they need to, Eric Hosmer is now on the disabled list, they do not quit. And I think the fans are really proud to see that.
Yeah, there was no letdown when they found out they were going to lose Hosmer.
Moose still uses training wheels, it says. Sounds like they're doing the same thing what the Mets fans are doing to Hunter Pence recently. And Moose goes to center field and take that, training wheels.
Stayed inside the ball well.
They really need that young man's offense, particularly with Haas now sidelined and Moustakas. 4 hits on this road trip, but it seems like each one of them has been a big one. He drove in all 4 runs last night in the Royals' 4-3 win. There is Escobar up for the 3rd time. He singled his last time up and drove in a run. So Delgado has given up his first base hit, pitching out of the stretch now. Delgado had been really tough. We showed you that graphic of what he had done against left-handers, and the left-hander Moustakas got him for a base hit, but he had held left-handers to a major league leading .077 batting average since July 2nd. Billy taking time off to get some refreshments. Popped him up, shallow center. Moose went about halfway and then backtracks to first. And Guthrie's going to stay in there. And Jeremy has 5 sacrifices, Rex, in his career. He's going to try and drop number 6 here.
Yep, Guthrie getting some early count outs, keeping the pitch count down, is able to stay in. They pull him for a pinch hitter if things weren't working right for him.
What did he do right or wrong on that bunt?
He's still a little tentative getting out there. You know, when pitchers haven't seen live pitching in a long time, and you square around the bunt, you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position. So he's gonna be a little bit nervous. Now I see how he comes back with it. He's jabbing at it. He's starting to recoil, come back. No, you want to get out there and stay out there. The barrel of your bat at eye level. Keep it out there at all times.
So it'll be an 0-2 count.
Montero, he jumped out of there quickly, trying to keep that ball fair. Snap that throw down to second base.
You might have a case here, Rex.
Well, look where home plate is.
Hit behind. I couldn't really get a good gauge on that one.
But you know, you like the fact that he followed through with the play. He didn't wait. This is a better shot here. Now, did it come on the line? Yeah, it just got a couple inches off the foul line. So a good call by Tony Randazzo, home plate umpire. But you like how he finished the play, not assuming anything.
Guthrie swings away and sends it to left fielder Roger Kieschnick. So pretty good swing with 2 strikes on him by Jeremy. Unable to advance the runner, though, and there's 2 out now in the 7th inning.
Let's check out Guthrie here. He got him a little hanging breaking ball, a little toe tap, got out there, didn't get too far. Pretty nice swing.
So now Nore Aoki, and Dave Island smiling at something that Jeremy just said about that swing and that at bat.
Dave's probably saying, you couldn't do what I did. Island homered in his first at bat.
Did he really?
As a big leaguer. And he, in his first batter he ever faced in the big leagues as a pitcher, he gave up a home run to Paul Molitor, and becoming the first and only player in the history of baseball to say that.
To homer in his first at bat and give up a home run.
Yeah, Dave Island stands alone. The only guy in the history of baseball to do that.
That is pretty impressive. I did not know that.
Yeah, you must have been on radio when we broke that down. We had some footage of it.
Yeah, obviously I was doing radio and Ryan was doing television.
And it was back when Minnesota was in town and Paul Molitor was the first base coach. We got some footage.
You got the footage of Island's home run?
I don't know. As good as our guys are in the truck, I wouldn't be surprised if they pull that up somewhere. Because they're really talented in there. They research.
But he just wants to make sure his guys are healthy when they come back from the batter's box.
I agree.
Aoki sends one to right. On comes the right fielder Peralta for the catch in the final out of the 7th inning. He played 6 1/2. The Royals with a 3-run lead for Jeremy Guthrie.
Jeremy Guthrie back on the hill. Panera takes us around the league. Yankees won at 1-0. Baltimore, they take Toronto. Chicago shut out by Seattle, and Milwaukee 3-1 in their game over the Giants, who should be rested and well in their beds now, or something like that, back home in Kansas City. And you saw the standings there, and so the Royals, they're going to go home if they can hold on to this win. Very happy. And if they hold on here, guys, we might see Greg Holland earn his 100th career save. Escobar got him.
Wow, what a play, Joel. Jeremy Guthrie tipped his cap, and Esky tipped it right back.
I don't know if he's still up. Well, guys, unbelievable from Alcides Escobar as we see that. I just wanted to point out, I don't know if they are still awake or not, but if Greg Holland does get that 100th career save, his parents will be very happy. It is their 31st wedding anniversary. So congratulations to Scott and Kim. Scott wanted to make sure that Kim got a little shout out there. I'm not sure if Greg sent a message home, but he could do that with his 100th save.
Oh, what a special night it could be. And it already is. Congratulations on the wedding anniversary.
You know what I'd love more? I'd love more for the Royals to score another run, rest Davis and Holland for another day to get ready for San Francisco, and have him do it at home.
Let's take a look at Escobar's play again. Guthrie couldn't get to it. Escobar said, I got it. just caught it and spun. Threw off his right leg. Tips to Guthrie. Billy Butler, actually, that was a tip to the captain, Billy, because Billy did a nice job of digging that out and making it look easy.
Now Jordan Pacheco. And he is pinch hitting for the pitcher Delgado. Good fastball at 91 miles an hour. Guthrie still has a lot in his tank. He gave up a run in the first and one in the third, but has mowed down everybody since. $11 straight retired by Guthrie. Make it 12.
Wow. Hitting his spots. Nice slider. Guthrie's balance is really good. You know, he releases that ball and he ends up in a really good fielding position.
Our Academy Sports and Outdoors line for Jeremy Guthrie: 6 2/3, 7 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. It's vintage Jay Guts.
Just like his last start. Now, he faced the Oakland A's with a lot more established hitters in that lineup, so to me that was more impressive what he did in his last start. But to be able to carry it over here in a big game for the Royals to win, he's the same. And I was talking about his balance, his repeating his pitches, his arm slot, the mechanics, they're all working for him.
And I remember when the Royals went into Oakland, and there was a lot of talk in the Bay Area media of the Athletics' dominance and how they would handle the Kansas City Royals with their 3 best pitchers going. And in game 1, it was Guthrie, the veteran, against this dynamic young star, Sonny Gray, and Guthrie outpitched him and won 1-0, and that really laid the foundation for this entire road trip.
Well, Guthrie, he's always in good fielding position, and we'll show you this ball back to him now. It wasn't because he wasn't in good position; he was in good position. He just, you know, the ball hit it. It was a hard one hopper right to his right side. He couldn't get to it, but he's been able to repeat his delivery, staying on balance. And Dave Island was telling me before the game about his hip turn. You know how important that is, that he taught him that a couple of years ago when he first got in the Royals uniform. And he said that's really important for him to be able to do that. Load up with his hips.
To get the ball down. And there's a flip towards left field, but Escobar, who's been outstanding in the inning, gets 1 assist, 1 putout. Guthrie goes 7, has a 5-2 lead. Backs, don't let the end of summer stop you from coming out to the K. You now can receive Field Plaza tickets for only $10 and Hy-Vee infield tickets for only $5. This deal is only good for select Royals games, home games on August 12th, September 2nd, and September 16th. Make sure to take advantage of these end of summer specials now by stopping by the Kauffman Stadium box office, visiting Royals.com, or by calling 1-800-6-ROYALS. Top of the 8th. Our Chevy call to the bullpen. We saw him last night. Matt Stites, young man from the Missouri Tigers, went to Jefferson Community College. He is out of Festus, Missouri. Cubs 33rd round pick in 2010, but did not sign. Returned to Mizzou, and then picked by Arizona, where he was named last year the best reliever in the Texas League, the same league that Northwest Arkansas, the Royals AA affiliate, deals in. And we told you that Brandon Finnegan had a successful debut at Northwest Arkansas against Corpus Christi with 2 shutout innings, no walks, 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, what we saw last night is what we're seeing now. 90 to 95 mile-an-hour fastball, hard slider. It's got a curve and a change.
Was called up from AAA Reno on June 19, and Infante pops it up right side for Trumbo in foul territory. 1 out. He went 0-1 with 15 saves and a 2.89 ERA. As this is almost tryout time for so many Diamondbacks, and this was a situation for so many years the Royals were in, and facing a much better veteran team, and that's what the Royals are right now, despite still being young with a guy like 24-year-old Salvador Perez, but he is one of the American League's best.
Salvador Perez, he might be 24 years old, but he plays like he's in his prime. He plays like he's in his 30s. I mean, he's really advanced for as young as he is.
1 for 3, lined out his last time up. Royals at 59 and 53. They started the day 3.5 games back of Detroit. Tigers lost 1-0 to Shane Green and the Yankees today. Tigers have lost 3 of their last 4. I understand that Miguel Cabrera articulated frustration after the game with the way the offense is not playing for Detroit. They've only scored 6 runs their last 4 games. Toronto also lost, and that helps out the Royals in the wild card. If KC can win, they will be in one of the 2 wild card spots here in the month of August. Fastball from Stites fouled off. High fly to center field. And Ciarte with the catch, and 2 out. The Fox Sports Kansas City Rally House and the Royals invite Husker fans to come to the K on Saturday against the Giants, and buy your tickets at Royals.com/Huskers to be eligible to receive a limited edition Nebraska themed Royals cap. It's Huskers night. That means there'll be plenty there cheering on Alex Gordon, one of their favorite Nebraska Cornhuskers, and it's Saturday, brought to you by Fox Sports Kansas City and Rally House. Diamondbacks just 3 years ago won the National League West. Kirk Gibson, the first-year manager. Team outdueled the San Francisco Giants to win the West. They just can't stay healthy since. Billy takes upstairs, but this was the team that began in 1999. They began in 1998, but in 99 they won the National League West, and 2 years later they won the World Championship over the New York Yankees in a rotation that was anchored by Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling. Schilling won 22 games, Randy won 21, and they were co-MVPs of the World Series. And Rex, as you might imagine, when you have a 1-2 combination of Johnson and Schilling, you're going to win a lot of playoff games.
Sure are. Both guys big game pitchers.
And that was a World Series that everybody thought New York would win. It was on the painful time of the terrible accidents in New York City with the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Luis Gonzalez was the guy who came through with this game-winning hit off Mariano Rivera. And all of Arizona was celebrating. There's Eddie Rodriguez, former Royals third base coach.
There's Eddie.
We saw that in '85 and trying to get back there again. Royals beginning to get that swagger back, playing awfully well. 11-3 their last 14. And Billy works the walk.
Good plate appearance. Not giving anything away.
Left fielder Alex Gordon.
Just like we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Alex Gordon. He said, you know what? I got to get Guthrie an early lead. So what does he do? Comes right out with a 2-run bomb in his first at bat. Picked up Billy, who had a leadoff double. His 10th of the year. And he got them all going.
Royals scored 2 in the second, 2 more in the third on Salvador Perez's 2 RBI single. He scored 1 more in the fifth. Single by Escobar that plated Kane, and they've been quiet since. As a matter of fact, Billy's their first base runner since Escobar's single to knock in that run in the fourth. Outside of Mike Moustakas' single. I beg your pardon, 2 base runners, Billy and Moose. The Diamondbacks actually came into this series playing some pretty good baseball. They were 13-10 since July 6th, even though they had suffered so many injuries, including one to their best offensive player and one of the best offensive players and defensive players in the game, Paul Goldschmidt. Guthrie's held them down tonight. And earlier it was Duffy and Ventura on Tuesday and Wednesday in Kansas City. It's just 6 outs from a sweep. Did you see Salvador Perez? He grabbed the foul ball, covered his eyes. Watch this, Rex. You'll love this.
Okay, now
watch it. Wait, oh, yeah, you had to see the end of it. Not sure if they did have the end, but swing and a miss. Down goes Gordon. But we'll let you see it go into break, Rex.
So does it look like a guy who's tired?
experiences every time you come out to the K with our new Royals Fan Memories program. A variety of on-the-field opportunities will be available for purchase for each homestand exclusively through the MLB.com At the Ballpark app. Go to Royals.com/memories for more information or download the At the Ballpark app on your phone and select upgrades. Jeremy Guthrie pitching into the 8th inning tonight. He has not gone 7 since late June against the Los Angeles Dodgers.
How about Jeremy Guthrie? You know what? He gets through this inning here. He gets some early countouts. They'll send him out there for the 9th.
Why not? Aaron Hill pops it up left side. Moose going over, and he leans in. Did he make the catch? Yes, he did. What a terrific play by Mike Moustakas.
How about that? He said, you know what? Guthrie didn't want that ball. I'm going to give it to a fan. So Moose looked down once, looked down twice. He knew where he was. He knew that little boy was camped under it. So he got the out. Okay, sure. Hey, thank you, sir. Way to go, young man. Way to use your manners.
He said, he screamed out, thank you.
Yeah, that's lovely to see those manners being used. Guthrie has retired 14 straight now.
Last time a Diamondback reached was on the single by Jake Lamb, who had his first major league hit. That knocked in Mark Trumbo. That was back in the 3rd inning. But look at the pitch efficiency. Wow. Here is David Peralta, who is 0 for 3, hitting in the 3 spot as a 26-year-old rookie. 62 hits in his first 53 games, and that ties the record for the most in Arizona history. Fly ball center field, and Kane is there, and 2 away in the 8th. As promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. It comes from Ann.
Thank you, Ann.
And we hope to see you smiling this weekend when the Giants come to town, followed by the Oakland A's. And Rex, the last time the Royals swept a 3-game series at a National League ballpark was June 17th through the 19th, 2008 at St. Louis. Trumbo the batter.
Guthrie hitting the spots. Trumbo saying, man, that wasn't a good swing. Well, it's a tough pitch to hit.
Trumbo skies it out of play. And Rex, I talked about the last time the Royals swept a 3-game series at a National League ballpark, 2008 at St. Louis. They came home, and do you know who they played? The San Francisco Giants, just like we're going to this time. And they took 2 of 3. That's from Dave Holtzman, affectionately known as Holtzy. Gives us our outstanding statistical reports every single day.
Gotta have him.
Boy, Guthrie looks like he's just getting better. He could go 9.
Yeah, no, I don't think so now. He's getting close to 100. There's a couple of guys in that bullpen that could use a little bit of work. And it's only a 3-run lead.
Well, that's why I think they'll go to Greg Holland. Wade Davis is just beginning to slowly work down in that Royals bullpen. But you like to give those 2 guys, Davis and Holland, more time off with the Giants series, followed by Oakland. We don't have a day off for a while. Ground ball short. Escobar backhands. Guthrie has been brilliant tonight. 8 innings, 2 runs allowed. He is on target for win number 8.
I think Guthrie wants to drive the bus tonight.
By authority of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be
disseminated without
the express written consent of the Royals. Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler, Joe Goldberg, and of course Joel will be with us for our Boulevard post-game show. Meantime, we'll see a new pitcher. It is Yuri De La Rosa, a 5'9" left-hander out of the Dominican Republic.
88 to 92, cut fastball, sinks it, slider curve, occasional changeups to righties, low 3/4 arm slot.
He will face Lorenzo Cain, Mike Moustakas, and Alcides Escobar, and then the pitcher's spot here in the top of the 9th inning. De La Rosa has pitched well, a 1.23 ERA in his last 6 home relief outings. Cain 1 for 3. That was a double to lead off the 4th, and he scored an Escobar single. The bottom of the 9th will feature Miguel Montero and Jake Lamb and Didi Gregorius. Last night Greg Holland had to go through the top of the order. Facing a lot of veterans, Greg gave up a hit to Pennington and a sacrifice fly by Trumbo, but then he shut the door by striking out the final batter he faced. Detroit lost to the Yankees earlier this afternoon. Toronto lost to Baltimore tonight. Back on the East, 2-1 that final score. Seeing a lot of well-pitched games in baseball. Good breaking ball, and he strikes out Cain.
That little floater. Just couldn't hardly wait on it.
It's our Mazda game break. We go to Toronto. Caleb Joseph against Jay Happ, and this was the difference, Rex. A home run. Orioles beat the Blue Jays 2-1. Because of that, if the Royals are successful here in this one, they will leapfrog the Blue Jays and have one of the 2 wild card spots. Plenty of time to go. This is game number 113.
Guess who had a perfect game going for Oakland into the 6th inning?
Left-hander John Lester.
That's right.
That was just a guess.
He gave a leadoff hit in the 6th inning.
Low strike called by home plate umpire Tony Randazzo, and Moustakas is a 1-1 count. Mike singled his last time up. Moose with a shot, fair ball into the corner. Really like the way he is swinging the bat, and he gets a 1-out double here in the top of the 9th inning.
Don't you though? And listen to the Moose calls here at Chase Field in Arizona. They know the Moose has been loose here in this series. 4 big ribbies last night, couple hits now tonight. That ball was stuck. Well, right down the right field line.
Moose hearing it from the fans and also from his dugout. He got a smile on his face as Kansas City now 5 runs, 9 hits. Diamondbacks 2 runs, 7 hits. Royals would love to get one more and not have to go to Holland in the bottom of the 9th inning. Give him a little extra rest for the Giants series. Starts tomorrow night at the K. Vargas and Bumgarner tomorrow night. And then Shields and Hudson on Saturday. Duffy and Lincecum go Sunday afternoon. All 3 should be well attended, so I would advise you to get your tickets now. That Oakland series is going to be special. Monday through Thursday as well. 3 night games Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and an afternoon game on Thursday. And then we hit the road for another long road trip to Minnesota, Colorado, and Texas. And then already it's September. Back up the middle. That's a base hit. Here comes Moustakas. They're going to send him home. The throw is in time. They say they got him. Well, Enciarte, they say, has the best outfield arm in the minor leagues. And Moustakas decided to go in feet first, standing up, rather than slide.
Yeah, he saw at the last minute Montero was coming up towards the back of the plate there, and he thought he could beat it instead of hooking the slide. That's the 8th outfield assist for that young center fielder already. Yeah, Moose hook slides on him there. He might have been safe.
Well, guess who's coming back for the 9th?
There he is. Guthrie.
So they will not go to Greg Holland, or they would have a pinch hitter out there trying to get that 6th run home. Holland is warming in the Royals pen. Royals have everybody available: Dyson, Ibanez, Kratz, and Colon.
Look at all the blue shirts. Royals fans catching on, making them happy.
Trying to tie their season best by going 7 games over 500. Way inside, and he hit Jeremy Guthrie on the back leg. So Guthrie is on. Royals with 2 on, and Aoki will have a chance.
Ooh. Wow. That didn't feel so good. That hit him on the inside of his knee or his shin. Hopefully it caught more of that, the pant leg.
Tough guy. I didn't even see him go out.
And didn't rub it either.
No. He's a pro. Former football player and all player.
No, he's hit 12 batters this year, and that's the first time he's ever been hit by a ball as a batter in his career. He wore it with pride, didn't rub it.
Aoki, who has always hit left-handers well, takes a questionable call on the inside corner that allegedly is a strike. So now Aoki down 2 strikes. And De La Rosa tries to sweep that breaking ball away from the Royals' left-handed batter. Nori on base once. That was a single to start the Royals' rally in the 3rd inning. Infante would single. There would be a double steal, and Perez would knock in 2. And there's a ball hit off the glove of the shortstop, rolls into shallow center field. Escobar will score, and Guthrie is safe at 3rd with an awkward slide.
Oh, man. You know, Guthrie, he had a slide earlier this year into 3rd base that was dangerous, and that was even worse. Oh, man. Okay, Guthrie, look at me, starting to slow down. Decides to slide late. Almost broke his right leg. Watch this. Ah, man, I'm going to tell you, that was close.
Sure was, and it was close in the earlier situation you talked about, Rex. Now, Kirk Gibson may come out and challenge the play. We'll see. Either way, the run will score because Escobar had already been across home plate.
You know, if Ned has any visions of him running in the Colorado series, take him out. Can't afford to lose him on an injury like that. That's the 2nd time that he's slid awkwardly into 3rd base.
Rex, it always seems like he gets to 3rd and he's not sure should I go in standing up or slide. And that's usually when an injury happens.
Yeah, that base does bad things. You know, and he got hit on that same leg.
Well, at least he's smiling right now, but this is really a dangerous situation.
Guthrie, he's going good. Not get hurt on that.
Oh, you ain't kidding. Royals rotation has been rock solid during this win streak in the last 14 days, 14, 15.
You know, they're questioning this call. Now, the tag was up top, and his foot was on the base. He's safe. Unfortunately, not being carried off.
Well, Ned now has the 4-run lead, so they don't have to worry about Greg Holland coming out of that bullpen.
Ned just took a deep breath there. And
we all did.
And exhaled.
The Royals rotation, Rex, has been rock solid when you consider every single night, whether it's Jeremy Guthrie or Danny Duffy, James Shields, Jason Vargas, Giordano Ventura. Every night they're throwing up a quality start. And the Royals, I believe, are tied for 3rd with the most quality starts this year with 64 in the major leagues. So they're taking a look at it. The challenge coming from Kirk Gibson, and in New York City, umpires reviewing several replays of the slide by Jeremy Guthrie into 3rd base. They're saying he is safe at 3rd base, so the inning will continue. And Mike Jersley said, "Don't do that to me ever again." So the call stands. And it was ruled safe by 3rd base umpire Dana DeMuth, the crew chief, who is on the phone with the New York City umpires. Aoki with his 24th RBI of the year and his 5th of this series.
Okay, look at Jersley. He's saying get down. He's saying slide.
I would imagine Jeremy's going to get back to Kansas City, and his 3 kids are going to look at him and say, Dad, let's go out in the backyard and I'll teach you how to slide.
Let's do some practice sliding.
De La Rosa will get the final out. Jeremy Guthrie, very fortunate to still be healthy, but he's part of a inning where the Royals pushed the lead back to 4. Look at Salvador. Scared gutless of Guthrie. Well, we were scared to death of Jeremy's slide into third base, but he pulls it up, and now he'll come back out for the 9th inning, trying to get his 8th career complete game. Jeremy Guthrie has been a big story. Gave up a run in the first, a run in the third, but has completely silenced the Arizona bats ever since. They have not touched him since the 3rd inning with a base hit by Jake Lamb, and he'll face Montero, Lamb, and Gregorius here in the 9th. By the way, fans, stay with us because Boulevard Royals Live will be with you after the ball game. Joel Goldberg will be along with Rex Hudler, and he'll be talking to the star of the game.
Maybe he'll get Guthrie to be his interview.
Would love to have that, and I'm sure Joel Goldberg's first choice would be Guts. You know, Jeremy, a very talented athlete growing up in Oregon. 3-sport star, a point guard in basketball, quarterback in football, a star on the baseball field. Tremendous athlete. You would expect him to be able to slide better than we've seen, but they don't do it that often when you're a pitcher.
Yeah, so he didn't get hurt, so let's just let it go.
Yeah,
we'll give him a hard time later.
Montero to center field. Kane there. Jeremy's last complete game was September 15th of last year. A 3-2 loss to Drew Smiley. Going for his first of the year. The longest he's gone this year, he's gone 8 innings a couple of times. Once in a 4-0 loss to Baltimore, and another in a 3-1 win in 11 innings over San Diego. And that ball struck right back to Jeremy, and 2 outs. Well, the Royals starting pitching has really been excellent on this road trip, and certainly the last 2.5 weeks. An ERA that continues to move lower. They came in with a 2.75 ERA in their last 14 games. Gregorius stands in the way of Guthrie's 8th career complete game, and he wants to get it right here, right now. Strike one. He's retired 18 straight since the base hit by Lamb in the 3rd inning.
Wow. 2 solid back-to-back outings by Guthrie. Says, oh, so you think I'm the 5th starter, huh? I'll show you. And again, it goes back to the competition amongst the players and the pitching staff. After one good outing, the next guy who pitches the next day says, oh man, I got to follow that.
The Royals get the sweep. They knock off the Diamondbacks by a final of 6-2. Salvi says you deserve this baseball. It should go in your trophy case, as Jeremy Guthrie retired the last 19 Diamondbacks to nail down the victory, and the Royals have tied their season high number of games over 500. They are 7 over 500, and Jeremy with his 8th career complete game and 4 with KC.
Tremendous job. All aboard. He's saying, jump on, fellas. I carried us. And carry us on home with a 5-1 road trip. Tremendous job. Way to go, Ned.
Royals now 17-7 in National League ballparks dating back to June 15th of 2012, and their first 3-game road sweep versus a National League team since the Cardinals at St. Louis in 2008, and the team they faced after that, the Giants. That's who they have next. We'll have an interview with one of the stars right after this.